Daily Tech News Show is made possible by you listening right now. Thank you. You might be Reed Fischler or Larry Bailey or Michelle Sergiu or our brand new patron, John.
Yay!
John. Thanks, John. Woo. On this episode of DTNS, Google releases a small new version of Gemini. And has a robot startup ruined every child's Christmas? Or other day? They don't celebrate. This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. In Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
Here in Salt Lake City, I'm Scott Johnson.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
Ooh, Roger Chang. How's it going, man?
Good.
Good. Scott Johnson, how are you?
I've never been better, Tom Merritt. Thank you for asking.
Unfortunate. I wish you had. But Sarah and I are in the same boat, right, Sarah?
I mean, I'm fine.
You're like, no, I've been better. I've been a little better. I'm good.
Fine. Yeah,
but maybe I've been better.
I'm a median of life right now.
That's honesty. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, we've got some good show for you. Let's start serving it up with the quick hits.
General Motors announced it will shut down its Cruise autonomous taxi business and merge it into GM operations, developing advanced safety systems and other driver assist features. CEO Merritt told analysts Tuesday, "We're looking at the amount of money to deploy a robotaxi business, and to maintain that business and grow it, it's quite a bit of capital."
If you want to know what I think she means by that, you can get the Daily Tech newsletter on Substack or just listen to yesterday's GDI, where we talked about it. Apple publicly rolled out iOS 18.2 and iPad OS 18.2 on Wednesday with the latest features for Apple Intelligence. That includes Image Playground, a tool for generating images from custom prompts, Genmoji, where you can use a text prompt to create a personalized emoji. There's also the integration of ChatGPT, if you've been waiting for that. So if you're using Siri or some of the writing tools, you can choose to send that query to ChatGPT. You don't have to, but you can choose to do that instead of processing it with Apple Intelligence. And if you long press on the camera control button, you can ask ChatGPT about things that are in the frame of the camera. New features are only available in English, and they're only available in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, South Africa, the UK, and the US, with more countries and languages set to roll out in April.
A district judge in California ruled Tuesday that Automatic, maker of WordPress, must restore WP Engine's access to WordPress.org, its themes, its plugins, including the ACF, known as Advanced Custom Fields plugin, and subdomains, and also remove a checkbox on signups that required people to acknowledge they had no relationship to WP Engine, and remove a list of companies that have stopped using WP Engine. The order is meant only as a temporary measure to preserve the status quo as of September 20th, while WP Engine pursues a court case against Automatic.
YouTube is expanding its auto-dubbing tool to hundreds of thousands of informational channels, which lets creators generate translated audio tracks. So if your video is in German, you can have it automatically translated by voice, not just subtitles, but dubbed into English, French, Hindi, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Portuguese, or Spanish. It's powered by Google's Gemini AI and is designed to replicate human speech, but still being refined for accuracy. Expressive speech is a future update that is meant to improve how it does tone and emotions and to provide broader availability and other content types.
Security researchers from Lookout announced at Black Hat Europe that a surveillance tool called Eagle Message Spy, so Eagle MSG Spy, is being used to collect sensitive information from Android devices in China. Lookout says it appears to have been operational since at least 2017. The tool can capture call logs, contacts, GPS coordinates, bookmarks, messages from third-party apps like Telegram and WhatsApp. Lookout also told TechCrunch that Eagle Message Spy can also initiate screen recordings and capture audio recordings of a device while in use. So, NBD. All right, we have a lot of Google news today. As Tom mentioned, some of it is small, but there's a lot of it. So let's just roll right into it. Google introduced Gemini 2.0 on its official blog today with native image and audio capabilities and external tool integration like Google Search. So Gemini 2.0 now processes and generates images and audio directly instead of converting them to text first as it did before. The lighter weight Gemini 2.0 Flash model offers these features as well, with improved speed and performance, outperforming Gemini 1.5 Pro on benchmarks while doubling response times.
Yeah, so that's the only one you can get is that Flash model, and you can't even get the production model. It's only by API or at the web version. Google also showed off its AI bot project Astra at I/O earlier this year, and now says Astra can better understand accents and less commonly used words and speak in multiple languages. Astra is meant to see the world around it and now uses Google Lens, Google Maps, and Google Search to inform it with a new 10-minute in-conversation memory and latency that Google says matches the flow of human conversation better.
A lot of folks saying, oh, Astra means Google's going to do new Google Glass, something like that. Google also announced a new tool called Deep Research that lets you use Gemini to search the web for you and write a detailed report based on its finding. Currently only available in English to Gemini Advanced subscribers, but if you have access, Deep Research can create a multi-step research plan that you can either edit or approve.
Google also unveiled Jules on Wednesday, an experimental coding assistant designed to fix software bugs and prepare code changes while developers are asleep or not on the clock, or both, marking a significant advancement in the company's push to automate core programming tasks. Jules is built on Gemini 2.0, integrates directly with GitHub's workflow system to analyze complex code bases, implement fixes across multiple files, and prepare detailed pull requests all on its own.
That's not all. Google also unveiled Trillium, its 6th-generation artificial intelligence accelerator chip, claiming performance improvements that could fundamentally alter the economics of AI development while pushing the boundaries of what's possible in machine learning. This, of course, is what Google is saying about it. It powers the new Gemini 2.0 AI model and delivers four times the training performance of its predecessor while using a lot less energy.
Yeah, I think that's actually the biggest announcement because that's something it can actually license out and sell to people with its cloud services. Google also introduced a new AI agent. A lot of agent talk in these announcements. This one from DeepMind called Project Mariner can take control of your Chrome browser. So it can move the cursor on your screen, click buttons, fill out forms so that you can say, go buy dog food, bread, and butter from Safeway and have it delivered this afternoon, and can just use the Chrome browser to go do that. Google says it's being tested by a small group of pre-selected users who need dog food, butter, and other things.
I need both of those things and lots of other things, so I can't wait to be on the testing list. But going back to Gemini 2.0, Google also says it's been exploring how AI agents might understand rules and game narratives to help you out if you get stuck in one. So, for example, Google says the agents could have the ability to interpret rules and challenges in games like Clash of Clans and Heyday from Supercell. Google's also creating playable virtual worlds on the fly from a prompt image using a foundational world model called Genie 2 that it showed off last week, although it's only up to a minute. So we have a lot to get through here, but Scott, the game stuff stuck out to me as something that you would probably have some thoughts on.
Yeah, I got some feelings. Most of it is this isn't anything groundbreaking they're working on. There's a lot of this happening across the business, and not just other tech companies, but gaming companies are all working on models to do on-the-fly generation and all this sort of stuff. So that stuff's not necessarily new. What is new is maybe them bringing up the idea that this stuff can help you when you're stuck in a game. That's a little bit weird. But I think I can kind of see the use case for it. They use some very sort of rudimentary mobile examples. I don't think this will resonate with too many gamer types, but I think that it's at least them acknowledging that, hey, some of what we're doing has some application in the games business. And I think that's probably smart if they want to license it out.
I mean, a lot of this, it feels not unlike the way that Many of these models, Gemini certainly being one of them, is like, what do you need to do right now? What are you trying to do? You trying to make a spreadsheet? You trying to, give your boss like a bullet point of all the reasons you should get a raise? Are you trying to get forward in a game where you're stuck? The point is that we're supposed to be able to help you with all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and I think Google did a great job of explaining what it can be used for soon. Now, granted, I'm poking a little fun at them because they announced the smallest version of Gemini 2.0 available and only in an API. But a lot of the stuff they described here will come out. They did the same thing last December. They announced a bunch of Gemini stuff that wasn't out until after the first of the year, and it did come out. And this all sounds like the broadening of AI. Agentic AI is not going to be like it's now more powerful and can do more things so much as it is it can be used for better things. It's got a narrower use case. It's both of those, but it can have more parameters is slowing a bit, even though it's continuing to grow. We've found these uses for it is broadening out, right? And we're seeing it can help you play a video game. It can help you with your browser. It can do all these other things which are more useful to you than just like, I don't know, maybe it's going to hallucinate, or maybe I can get it to help me with my code, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it starts to find some rubber and the road the rubber needs to get on, right? Like some of that's happening right now. I think the assistant stuff is very interesting. Tom and I talked a bit more about this on TMS this morning on his segment, but what it boiled down to was, yeah, a lot of these sort of mundane things that you would normally have to do, ordering groceries, whatever it is, might be able to be handled completely and 100% by one of these assistants. What I thought about later, though, was they are inadvertently making one of the potentially most powerful accessibility features maybe ever by doing that. There are people that if they can just say or type or some other way of inputting a thing that usually is arduous for them for whatever reason, that's massive if that works, right? Like having that
Project
all get taken care
Mariner,
of.
is that what you're thinking of, where it just does the browser stuff for you? Like, it can't do everything for you, but it can certainly do a lot. So, or at least they say it will when it comes out.
But it's usually what usually happens with innovation. It's like, okay, we do all these rad things, and then they go, oh, accessibility, we better add that in there. It's not always their first priority. But this stuff almost feels like it's built in a weird way. Like half of these conveniences that we discuss all the time around AI are accessibility improvements for everyone, and then those less able even more so. Like I just see that as a bright point of this whole thing. Is we're moving in that direction.
So much of, I don't know, I would say over the last 10 years, maybe more, has been, we're wasting way too much time, in this phone tree hell, that you're trying to get a hold of, I don't know, your health insurance provider type thing. And there are all these tools now designed to make it so that you don't have to be sitting on hold for an hour or more type thing.
Right.
The same thing with, it's a little bit different when you're talking about, if I'm buying groceries for my dog on Chewy.com on Chrome, it's fairly easy for me to do that. But yeah, let's say there was an accessibility issue, or I was just, I don't know, using some service that I wasn't familiar with, and it was going to take some time, and we've all been there. So
yeah,
I'm really interested in that part of it.
Yeah, if you're busy playing, the new mobile game on your phone, you could let this thing do your groceries. It could also save you actual productive time. And I keep telling people you're going to hear a lot about agentic AI. You're going to hear a lot about agents. I'm not the only one who says it, but that seems to be the conventional wisdom that is the next field that these companies are going to be pushing. And it's going to be a bunch of things that may or may not be useful, but we're going to see a lot of them, and a lot of them will be useful. And it'll be interesting to see which one of these catch on, because they'll take a lot of time and give it back to you. Things that you find tedious, whether it's shopping or whether it's processing spreadsheets, whatever it is, agents are going to be making a big difference with people this year, I think.
Yep.
Another thing that you'll want to use that time for is sitting on the couch watching television. YouTube announced that the total daily viewing of its content on a TV set reached 1 billion hours. That's right. people are watching YouTube, not even just YouTube TV, but YouTube itself on TV sets more than ever. Sports content on YouTube rose 30%. Now, granted, they got NFL Sunday Ticket, but that has a halo effect of causing people to watch more highlights and things like that. YouTube creators are uploading more 4K content. 4K content uploads rose 35%. And the addition of a button that lets you add a channel subscription from your TV increased subscriptions 40%. So even if you're not a YouTube TV subscriber, you can add stars or NFL Sunday Ticket and things like that with the push of a button without getting up off your couch. Viewers also consumed 400 million hours of podcasts. YouTube is still trying to promote itself as the place for podcasts. And YouTube announced a feature called Watch With that's coming soon, which can put a live event like a football game, baseball game, whatever they're streaming, and a live stream from a creator in the same frame. This could be used for award shows. I immediately thought about it being used by Justin Robert Young when he's talking about the debates. And it would give the live streaming creator the ability to give commentary on the thing without having to host the thing on their own stream and risk a copyright takedown, etc.
That was my first question is like, how is that legally going to work? But
because the stream is legal and
the stream is legal.
Viewer are basically doing a picture-in-picture, right?
Yeah.
All they've done is made it easy. They've just made it easy for the creator to commentate on this thing and stream in a simultaneous way that you, the viewer, don't have to go ramshackle sync up yourselves.
Yeah, they don't have to stream it themselves. You don't have to mess around putting it together. Everybody wins.
Yeah, there's a whole... Awesome. I have issues with that only in that it's hard to say what you can do archivally. It sounds like it's maybe a live-only kind of situation.
Yeah, we'll see what the rules are about it. It's a coming soon feature, right?
Yeah, but it's pretty neat. I have to say, in our household, without trying to, we just do more YouTube than ever on our TVs and not just desktops and phones. And I don't know why. We just do. Last night we watched 3 or 4 shorts on there. I went and checked some podcast stuff just because I was curious. I do have the subscription that gets rid of ads, and to me that's like my most valuable subscription, not just for the ads, but I like YouTube Music more than the other music services.
Sarah was saying it's the first thing her guests complain of when they come over to her house.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, not that I'm hosting a dinner party every night, but they're often... without fail, somebody will be at my house and they'll be like, "Oh, you remember that video? Oh, we'll just put it up on the TV real quick." Oh, wait, you don't? You just have ads on YouTube? And I'm like, yeah, I just don't do this that often. I watch plenty of things on YouTube, but not to the point where I've ever paid to strip ads out, which probably said something about me. And I have friends who are like, "We don't know if we can be your friend."
What's funny about us is I was a Google Music subscriber, and then Google Music became YouTube Premium. And so I got the ad-free stuff because I was a Google Music subscriber. Then Google Music rolled into YouTube Music, and I switched to using Apple Music again. But I kept the subscription because I'm like, well, I kind of got used to having the ad-free. Here's a tip. YouTube does not mind if you have family members who are outside of your household. They are one of the few streaming services that doesn't care if you do that, at least for now. And so, Sarah, I would recommend next time somebody complains, just be like, "Add me to your family," and my ads will go away.
Well, that has actually happened as of late.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So yes, we're fine, but I felt that the story might resonate with some people. For a long time I was like, YouTube is, I don't know, somebody will send me a link and I'll watch something, or maybe I'll look up like a tutorial for something and I'll watch that. And, you go like, skip, 3, 2, 1, skip ad. I'm so used to it that it doesn't really affect me. But then once you don't have it anymore, you're like, oh, I can't go back.
Oh yeah. When we were visiting Eileen's sister, we were watching more and more YouTube on their TV, not just us, but the kids too. So we added them to our family, which is, legitimately she's Eileen's sister, right? But they don't live in the same city as us. But it makes a big difference for us when we visit, but it's made a big difference for them too. And it just goes to show that, I think for us, when we sit down to watch TV, our first stop is YouTube. We look at what are the new short things, not even just shorts, but like short videos that are out from people we like. Then we'll watch an episode of a show or two, and then we'll go back to YouTube afterwards, like dessert, to be like, well, let's watch a couple of things. We also throw it up for just background music,
Yeah,
like
all the
lo-fi
time.
beats that are on for hours and hours at a time.
And you get great visualization with that. Like I have this Dead Mouse mix I like a lot that's super chill. It's not like hard driving stuff. And what they show is great filler for just a room that you need some ambience in. And there's such deep stuff like 3-4 hour, 10-hour things that they don't get this on
You just
Spotify
leave
or
them
Apple.
on.
You just
Yeah.
leave it on and you never have to worry about an ad popping up. I mean, it's kind of changed the way I watch things. It's
Let's
great.
not forget, because 'tis the season, the Yule log
Oh, yeah.
videos.
Oh,
Quite a
just
few of them.
Christmas cafe scenes.
Oh,
snow
yes.
Scenes,
Like when I say Yule log, I mean, it's just like,
Yeah.
you have something and you're like, oh, it's like, this ambiance.
It's all cozy in here now.
Yeah, it's like I'm sitting there with that woman and her
I'm telling you,
cat.
man, if YouTube TV had the Dodgers, which they do not, I think that would be the only thing that Eileen would not like if we switched to YouTube TV, and then all of our TV would be in one place.
I could not
Netflix,
live without
Peacock,
YouTube TV.
et cetera. But
It is
But
my
yeah.
favorite. Which is different than YouTube, of course, but it's great.
But they're
service.
available in the same interface, so they can blend together.
That's right.
That's how they get you.
Well, what do you want to blend on this show? Send us some ingredients. We have a subreddit where you can submit stories and vote on them. There's a great group over there. Motang was posting again. I saw RW's always posting over there. Good stuff from the folks on YouTube. Go check it out. YouTube on Reddit. Go check it out. Reddit.com/r/Daily Tech News Show.
Embodied, which is a startup behind the $800 AI-powered emotional support companion for children from ages 5 to 10 called Moxie, is shutting down. Because the robot requires cloud servers to power its functions using AI, Moxie will essentially be useless after those servers do get shut down. The company says because of its financial situation and impending dissolution, it won't be able to issue broad refunds. Just sounds like a big financial cluster F at this point. Embodied does say it will try to prioritize refunds for purchases made within the past 30 days. So, if you're super disappointed, you just got the toy, try to prioritize you, but also says it's not guaranteeing anything. Doesn't look good for Embodied. Embodied blames a failed round of funding after a lead investor pulled out at the last minute. But Scott, I know that you've been following the story, and what do you make of this whole cloud infrastructure being pulled for a very specific kind of person?
Well, sir, I don't like it. No, I really don't like it because I think it's not that every company is going to stay around forever. I understand that. I'm not naive to that. Not every company's even got 20 years in them. Sometimes things come and they go, and it's okay, and we live with it, especially when it comes to products that are adult decisions for us to get. If I buy a phone from a weird manufacturer that's coming out of nowhere and I'm like, all right, let's see what these guys do. I love what they're saying. And then they're gone 2 years later. Them's the breaks. You move on to something else. But this is being marketed and sold as a pretty premium priced item that is meant to be an AI powered emotional support companion for kids. That likely means the purchasers of this are parents who are concerned about their kid and think this might help. Now, whether it really does or not, that's a whole other issue. I have a feeling it may not actually do much of anything. But I feel like that doesn't matter. They buy in on that idea. This is to help their kid who struggles in some way, and this is their emotional support bot. And the kid gets it. He gets used to it. He likes it. I mean, a lot of this, I make it up in my head. I don't know the stories of these people. But then when this thing suddenly gets yanked out, you pull the rug out, and this robot is going to just go burp and not work anymore. It might power up. You might be able to charge it, but it's not going to communicate with the cloud. It's not going to talk back to you anymore. It's not going to give you any of that feedback. The emotional support is gone. I think that is just an extra level of maybe this isn't the way we go with this stuff. Like maybe unless you've got an idea that's going to last. And for consumers, I would say maybe don't go with little weird startups with this stuff right away. Maybe wait until something like this gets picked up by a big company. Like if Google shuts down stuff all the time. But like, if Apple or Google or Meta or somebody else is like, hey, we're getting into this emotional support animal thing, but with robots, then maybe you're safer putting your money there. But it's just a cautionary tale that if the servers go away, so does your your option as somebody who's played a lot of video games that are server dependent and have those games go away. It never feels good when those things get closed down. But if you, I don't know, I just feel bad. You got a kid with like special needs or something, and suddenly his robot friend Barry just stops working. Lame.
No, it sucks when toys break, and this is a toy breaking. But what should Embodied have done differently other than succeed, which it didn't?
Well, see, that's okay. So
because what you're saying
it's
is
not really.
don't buy things from independent companies. Only spend money with the big tech companies.
I know.
I don't know if that's exactly what you mean to be saying, right?
It's not what I mean. In fact, I'm usually kind of opposed to that.
Right?
I want innovation to come from smaller things. We always talk about supporting moms and pops, but they're the ones most likely to get, yanked around if something bad happens. So I understand. That's a really good point. I think maybe what I would have done if I were them is thought this through and said, if we aren't around after our 2 rounds of funding and the third doesn't come through, however it worked out, wouldn't it be cool if this thing still did some baseline stuff so that it was still worth it? And we were clear about that in our marketing. Like, no matter what happens to us in the future, this will always, at a baseline, do these 4 things. And then beyond that, look at all the cool server stuff, but always come back to the baseline. I think they could have done that and not had to invest a ton to do it.
And for $800, it's like there is not a child between 5 and 10 buying this. This is a parent or guardian or, some other person who thinks that this is something that's going to be very helpful for a child.
Oh, for sure. No,
So, for that reason, I think the messaging is really, really important.
The danger of doing that is that you undermine sales because people are like, oh, I guess they don't have much faith in their company. They're already telling me it's going to shut down. So you have to be careful on the message. It also is a cost. To be able to create it so that it can work offline is extra development cost, which could cause you to go out of business faster. I'm not against what you're saying, Scott, but I'm just like that. Those are the realities of someone entering a marketplace. And I don't think what's getting enough attention is Embodied is saying, if they can, they will try to keep these servers up as long as possible. They haven't pulled the plug yet.
Yeah.
If they are able to sell their assets, which do include customer data, so that's making some people wonky, but if they are able to sell the assets, they might be able to get the buyer of the assets to keep the cloud services going as a positive thing. They haven't talked about open sourcing it, which would be a great last minute move to be like, here, somebody out there crack it and make a server that can keep this thing going online, or make it so that it'll work offline even on a limited function. I do think Embodied is doing almost everything it can to treat its customers well, short of not failing. And that's just the way it goes when you do startups. Sometimes they're just not going to work.
Yeah, I also think that if even if they were still going and they got their new round of funding, this tells me that they also haven't sold very many. And I'm guessing if not $800, probably a low number. They haven't said how many.
Why did the investor back out, right?
Yeah, there's lots of questions about that, and maybe we've all been saved some worse embarrassment later by them stopping whatever weirdness is going on. I don't know, but I feel I'm having empathy for a kid on the ground right now.
Definitely.
Who's going to have his robot stop working, primarily because his parents don't even know about this. They're just going to be like, do, and he's going to be
right,
one day,
like, oh, just restart it. Or
I think something's wrong with it. And then they're going to call. He's going to be sad.
There's all kinds of ways you can get out of that. But yeah, some kids are not going to like it. It's going to be unfortunate.
I mean,
There's
listen,
gonna be some meltdowns.
I'm not a kid, but my emotional support dog, Otis, at least he'll never die. So.
Yeah. No, he's fair forever. They're immortal.
At least
dogs.
his cloud service is not.
Yeah, sometimes you got to go analog with this stuff.
That's right.
Before we get out of here, we got some mailbag to look at.
We did. So Sean wrote in about our conversation about Parkinson's research using the Magic Leap. Sean writes, my father-in-law has Parkinson's and my wife is a physical therapist. She advocated for getting him a walker that has a laser that shines on the floor for the same kind of cueing response. The walker also has the brakes reversed, so you squeeze to go instead of stop, which is easier and safer for people with Parkinson's. Magic Leap may be good if still safe to walk unassisted, but that walker is $600 to $1,000.
Yeah, and again, as we mentioned, this is a clinical product. It's meant for clinicians to be able to use it. It's not something I think they expect end users to buy. Whereas this walker sounds like it is, and that's a great option for folks. Thank you, Sean, for sending that in.
Indeed.
Mohan wrote regarding alternatives to Apple Pay for iOS. We were talking about VIP in Norway being the first default alternative to Apple Pay on iOS. Last time I was in India, Apple Pay was nowhere to be found. It was either Google Pay, Samsung Pay, or Paytm. So we had to rely on my phone or use traditional card or cash. Hopefully soon we could use Paytm on my wife's iPhone. Thank you, Mohan.
Oh yeah, that is. We were sort of wondering, who wants this to happen? Who thinks that Apple Pay needs more competition on an iPhone? So thank you, Mohan. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff from you too, Scott Johnson. Let folks know what your latest is.
Well, tomorrow are the Game Awards, and I have a show called Core where we talk about video games all the time, and a core part of that is discussing these silly awards. There are actually lots of issues with these awards, which makes it kind of interesting to talk about just beyond the awards themselves. So if that sounds interesting to you, we are going to do a live watch along after our regular episode tomorrow and do the entire thing as a co-stream. I'd love to be using that new YouTube thing, but that's not available to me yet. But we'll be doing that and putting it all up on the feeds. So check all that stuff out on the Core podcast. You can find that at frogpants.com/core.
Thanks in part to Scott's daughter, we have stickers. Whee! Yay! They also work as little puppets too. If you would like a sticker of Sarah or Roger or me, you can get them at dailytechnewsshow.com/store. They're $4.99 each, or a sticker pack of all three for $12.99, and the shipping is free. So you just pay for the stickers and then we'll send them out to you. Or rather, Scott's daughter will send them out to you. Just head to dailytechnewsshow.com/store. And then you can put on a little Christmas puppet show with us.
Nice.
Patrons, stick around for the extended show Good Day Internet. More mystery drone sightings to talk about. Thank you for the on-the-field reports. And is Apple Intelligence the AI tool Apple wants it to be? We shall discuss.
We shall indeed. But just a reminder, you can catch our show live because we do it live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We're back doing it all again tomorrow with Justin Robert Young joining us. Hope to talk to you then.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.